All right, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about marketing automation, the race to revenue generation and business efficiency. My name is Kelli Schutrop. I'm with Parqa Digital Marketing Agency. I've spent the last 10 years focused on marketing for the staffing and recruiting space and nerding all about it. So let's dive right in. When you think about marketing automation, you probably think about things like Sense, Herefish, maybe technologies that are not specific to the staffing industry like HubSpot, Pardot, Marketo, the works. At the end of the day, what these technologies do is create efficiencies within your business, marketing, sales, even within recruiting. And so what we've found is that over the last few years, our industry, this wonderful staffing space, continues to advance, and the companies that are investing in their marketing automation strategies are going to become more and more successful. And so, where are you at today? The infamous bell curve strikes again. Just like with any piece of technology, we've got early adopters, we've got that really large crowd right in the middle, and then we've got late adopters. So I'm going to make this interactive. I know you guys didn't think that was going to happen, but I'd love to see a show of hands. If you're an early adopter, if you've been focused on marketing automation for the last year and a half, 2 years or more, awesome, a couple hands, love that, love that. Now, how about the big spot in the middle? If you focused in on marketing automation for the last, maybe call it year, 6 months, you're implementing it right now, show of hands? Awesome, okay, great. Now how about that late adopter? Either you're here today going, oh shoot, everybody's talking about marketing automation, I need to get on board, or you're kind of unsure if it makes sense for your business. So late adopters, okay, great. I love seeing everybody represented in the audience because there's keys here that are going to apply to everyone. Today what we're going to be talking about is those key considerations when you're implementing marketing automation, whether you've been doing it for the last few years or you're thinking about starting it. First of all, we want to think about what are your goals. Do not buy technology unless they align with your business goals. And I know this seems so silly, but we see all the time, people end up with a shelf of really beautiful, expensive technology toys that never get played with, and we do not want that. So the biggest two considerations around your goals typically come down to business efficiency and revenue generation, like the title of this talk says. Business efficiency, what's an example there? So let's say you are a IT professional services firm, you've got hundreds or thousands of consultants out in the field at any given time. Now you've got your team of recruiters that needs to touch base with them throughout, say, that 6-month contract, right? As they get in place, throughout that contract, as they're going into redeployment, you know, there's that whole process that historically in this industry has been very manual. So you can automate that by saying, okay, happy anniversary, happy birthday. Yeah, those are templated things, but even beyond that, you know, how are you doing? Are you loving it on a scale of 1 to 10? Is there someone else that does what you do that you would love to introduce to us? How can we be there for you? And even making it customized so that it comes, for anyone not seeing me, in air quotes, from your recruiter that says, hey, if we're in the same city, do you want to grab lunch? Do you want to hop on a Zoom call? And you may not get a response from your contractor on that email, but they're going to feel a lot more personal. So when they hit that point of needing to be redeployed, hopefully they're not thinking about you and your team as a commodity and thinking about the next shiny job. They're thinking about, all right, this is the company that's helped place me and they're the ones that take care of me. So part of it in that business efficiency is saying, how can you make more hours out of your current team and let them focus on some of those more high touch points that they're having maybe a little bit more fun with, like interviewing more candidates, getting them more placements. And then of course on the revenue generation side, we think about things like client, right? You've got a ton of people in your ATS, maybe people that have been in touch with you in years past and it wasn't a fit, or maybe you did 1 or 2 placements, you've been in partnership for a while but you're not very active. Let's say they download a salary guide or watch a webinar on demand. Then what? Are you relying on your internal sales team to follow up with every single person at the perfect cadence with the perfect message? Well, why don't you take a step back and say, let's automate this. How do we stay in front of these people and nurture them to the point where it's the right fit? Now, who is that audience, right? Now, if you are anything like me, you think a lot about who do I need to get in front of, right? And I know, I mean, any staffing firm I've ever talked to, they know who is that company, who is the buyer persona, who is the right candidate. So we're going to jump a little bit deeper into that. I'd love to see a show of hands. Has anybody done ideal customer profile and buyer persona work? Is that a familiar phrase? Awesome, I love that. Typically that's larger companies or a company that has a marketer who's really passionate about it because they did it somewhere else. And really what that means is, okay, we're going to identify that company you want to work with again and again. Let's not bring on the clients that are a pain to work with, let's bring on more of the favorites, and what makes them a favorite? Is it revenue, is it number of employees, is it their business problems? And then who are those buyers within that? Is it the owner, is it the director of IT in this example? Is it a leader of HR? But even beyond that, because those are table stakes, right? Everyone knows who they need to be in front of. Beyond that, what is their buyer's journey? Literally, from the point of them needing something to the point of them saying, I'm working with you, whether they're a client or a candidate, what is their decision process? And are you serving them up content that's relevant to them? Because that is what will make your shiny, expensive technology tool actually profitable for you. Because if you've got the relevant content in there, serving it to the right people at the right time, it's going to make a huge difference. Now, when we look at different examples of those audiences, there's different things that are important to each of them. So let's say you're talking to an owner or buyer, an owner, maybe your buyer, something that might be important to them may be, I just need to know if I can put my trust in you and you guys are credible. So if I see a video of somebody with my same title saying that they used your services, okay, I need to see more of that to make me comfortable. Maybe the director of IT is thinking, I cannot get my projects off the ground because we've had these goals forever and everybody's a passive candidate, and in this market, there's all these changes and I cannot get the right people. So how am I going to fix my business problems? They want to know use cases. Like, when have you created a scenario of success for someone else like them? So that's what you want to think about as you implement marketing automation and you say, okay, what kind of content am I producing? It's not just the happy birthdays and happy anniversaries and hey, here's an ebook, maybe you like this blog. It's what are the pain points you're trying to solve, and this is how we get in that situation to help you together as a partner. Then when you think about clients and candidates, everybody's on this epic journey, right? And this is not new information, I'm sure, to a lot of you. You start at that awareness stage. Okay, I'm aware of my problem. I have a need, whether it's a candidate who's looking for that next role or a client who's looking for a partner who's really going to help them. And then they move into consideration. What are the things that are important to me right now in making my decision? And then it's that decision stage. Yes, I'm going to work with ABC staffing firm, and this is why, because they're the right fit for all of these different reasons. And then it's retention. How do you stay in touch with those individuals? And then, of course, advocacy. How do you turn them into your number one fan? Rock star is a word used everywhere, but let's turn this into, how do you create advocates? Yes, you're placing great candidates. Yes, you're working with great clients, but how do you make them your best salespeople at the end of the day? And some of the components that come into that are, if they're new, you need to engage them by building credibility, by showing that you have good reputation in the space. Then retention, how do you stay in touch in that meaningful way? That's through pieces like content. Maybe it's that, let's have a Zoom call consultant and have a conversation and see how it's really going. And I'm not just a recruiter that touches you the second I need you, but I really want to make sure it's a good fit for you and we work together throughout your career. Or client, we're working together on these sets of objectives, but our firm offers a whole lot more that we could help you with in your staffing needs. Let me show you some of those valuable case studies or thought leadership blogs around them. And then, of course, alumni. How do you re-engage people and create them as really turn them into that advocate for you? So as you're thinking about all of that, now some of you have marketing automation in place already, and it really comes down to evaluating what is that. Okay, so you know your business goals, you know who you're targeting, you know that the message is very important to those individuals. Now, what is your data? Everybody's got an ATS, everybody's got probably hundreds of thousands of people in that, and it's kind of a hot mess half the time, right? Because you've got so many inputs, whether it's somebody filling out an application, you can't control what ends up in that system, or you've got recruiters and salespeople that are all doing different things. It's important to take a step back and say, are these things talking to each other in the right way? If I hire or invest in Sense or Herefish or a tool like that, are my fields in Bullhorn or whatever my ATS is, are they actually tracking over in a way that's meaningful? Do I have those data points that tell me how many years of experience someone has? Or am I just relying on the last time they uploaded their resume 5 years ago because the recruiter didn't update that, right? So thinking through your data, then thinking through your tools. If you are using Sense, Herefish, HubSpot, whatever that is it the right fit? Sometimes we talk to people and they've got a lot of tools. You're using just about everything under the sun and they all do the same sort of thing. So evaluating what is the most streamlined process to get from point A to point B. And then of course, automations. I hear all the time, yep, I invested in this tool and we've got that anniversary workflow, we've got that happy birthday journey, but beyond that, what do we do? So here's a few examples of marketing automation campaigns that you can think about. 1, redeployment, so you're preparing for the end of that contract. 2, re-engagement. 3, nurturing. 4, on contract. 5, curation. So all of these touch different people on their journey of working with you, and those are different places that you can create automations and workflows with relevant content. Here's an example of a redeployment campaign. And these slides will be available following if you guys would like to check them out. You know, you want to get that set up on a cadence where you say, okay, I've got active candidates who are nearing the end of their placement. I want to get in front of them, letting them know it's coming up. I mean, yes, they know it's coming up, but I need to be on the forefront, so the next recruiter who reaches out to them on LinkedIn isn't the next one that places them, it's us, because they're already working with us and we know exactly what they need. So, how do you measure success? Finally, I would point you back to your business goals. Right? Are you looking to create efficiencies? Are you looking to generate revenue? At the end of the day, you want to see, are people interacting with my emails that are being sent in a way that's meaningful? If I set up a campaign that says, all right, Mr. Candidate, consultant, how are you doing? And I'm going to send that how you doing message every 30 days, and then at 120 days, I say, I'd love to talk to any of your friends. What about if at day 30, they say, I love this job. This is my favorite job I've ever had. Why not send that message to refer a friend there? You know, so just starting to think about, is that generating me more candidates at the end of the day because I'm thinking about the timing and placement? I'm Kelli Schutrop. I'm with Parqa Digital Marketing Agency. Thank you guys so much. Today we talked about marketing automation, the race to revenue generation and business efficiency. If you have any questions following, I'll be standing right here. I'm on LinkedIn. Happy to chat. All right.